Okay, welcome everyone. My name is Paula Phillips, also known as JournalArtista, and I'm live over on ustream.tv/JournalArtista. If you're watching this on YouTube, I do have live chat. We have over 100 people here tonight. I truly appreciate all of the support. Um, no, Lisa, I'm doing the black gesso. I'm not prepared for the. See, I am answering a question as I speak. No, tonight we're gonna do some black gesso technique with Sharpie brush markers because yeah, I'm not doing it. So next Saturday we'll be doing the packing tape transfer through a stencil. All right, so a long time ago, and I'll say the story again. I was watching the wonderful Julie Faye Van Balzer on a Prima channel. This was many years, 4 years ago at least. And she was using gesso on a canvas bag where she had used, this was back when we only had Adirondack, Ranger Adirondack sprays. And she was using, she would spray it first and then the sprays would come up through the gesso. And while I was watching this, I thought to myself, I wonder what would happen if we did it on top of black gesso. So I put out that video a long time ago. We've gone over it multiple times, right? There's multiple videos I have out there. Here's an example. These are Artist Cellar CELLAR stencils, and sometimes when you use a spray ink, as everybody knows, right? I did this one most recently. We used some Stencil Girl stencils with the face, and you'll see that, you know, all of this stuff coming up through where her hair is all Dilutions and Tim Holtz Distress sprays coming up through paint. So then I got to thinking, this is hot, you know, everybody that's used dilution sprays knows that it gets a little bit messy, right? Like, you never know. Like, sometimes if you spray too close to your project, you're going to get these big splots. You know, it's a messy business, which can be cool in some instances, right? But it also got to me to thinking. I also did a video using Sharpie brush markers through a stencil, just the regular old way. So I started thinking again, what if I use Sharpie brush markers on top of black gesso? Or in this case, before I started streaming, this is a Canson mixed media journal, just the, you know, cheap ones you can get. I apologize for the shadow. I've been streaming a lot of impromptu organizing shows. And if you haven't looked at any of my, welcome Joker. If you haven't checked out any of my organizing videos over on YouTube, you need to go check that out over there. So I did use some just regular old craft paint. You can use black gesso. I prefer black gesso because it's actually darker, like it's a richer, if that's even a right term. It's a dark black and very matte, but we'll still be able to use it on craft paint. All right, so Sharpie brush markers. Most people realize that if you use a Sharpie marker on craft paint, forget about it. You might as well just throw your marker in the garbage. You know, craft paint, whether you're using some of those Pitt pens or you know, any fine tip pen, it just sucks the life out of your markers. Well, Sharpie brush, which look like this, it's got a flexible tip, right? Excuse me, I need my baby wipe here. And so for when you use a Sharpie brush marker on craft paint or any type of paint, it doesn't suck the life out of it. You know, you may get a little rough if you go through a stencil like I'm going to here. It may damage a tip a little bit, but it works perfect on any type of craft paint. I use the black a lot. You'll see in a lot of my journals. Let me find, for example, when I drink some coffee, Paula. This Paula is just wrote. I just use a Sharpie brush marker to write my name on top of that. Now you can't. If you use a regular bullet tip Sharpie marker, it's going to, on top of craft paint, it's going to suck the life right out of it. Might as well throw it out. So But brushes, you can get them at Michael's. When I was in the US there recently, in Baltimore there, I got them at AC Moore for like $15. Or it was $12.50. After the coupon, it was $12.50 American for a package of 15 colors, I think. 12 or 15 colors. But they're actually Sharpie brush. It actually says brush. And excuse my dirty fingernails. Alright, so there's two ways to do this type of technique. We can do it without a stencil, right? Say I just want to doodle something. What can I doodle? If I'm going to doodle anything, it's usually a flower. This is a light pink Sharpie, right? And that's going to sink into the background when it's dry. You're not going to be able to see the Sharpie when that dries. Oh, let me say that you'd have to put it really close to be able to see the Sharpie is what I'm trying to say. Hey Sandy, and anybody I missed coming in? Hi other Sandy. Good to see everybody. I truly appreciate all the support tonight. So let's just again add a couple flowers. Couple flowers. Everything, then I gotta do another one, I suppose, because things are supposed to be in threes. Let's do some orange. So you think putting orange on top of black paint or light colors of any kind, you're probably wondering what the heck I'm doing. Let's see, I'll just go right over it. And we could be making a hot mess. But my theory about hot messes is that if you can't make a hot mess in your art journal, where we're supposed to be able to play freely and test out new things, or that's how I use my art journal anyways, where else can we do it, right? Can't be afraid to make a hot mess. Another one of my mottos is you can't be afraid to cover up something you really like. So you're going to be able to see, with my lighting here, the little shine of the Sharpie. Hi AJ. So also, we can take a stencil. Now let's find a good one that I can color on over here. I can color through quickly, I suppose. Again, a lot of my stencils are also in, let's see, here's a good one. So this is one of Patty Tolly Parrish's exclusive stencils through istencils.com. This was a free giveaway with her last, from her last stencil release. All right, so I haven't used purple yet. Now, maybe this is an awkward stencil because, not awkward, let me try to rephrase. It's a very small, fine detailed stencil so the holes are smaller than my Sharpie brush marker. So I'm just going to go over it, like old school, like how we used to use stencils before the jelly plate and sprays and all that good stuff. We would just trace around it, right? This going through a stencil could damage your marker, and when I say damage, it might fray it a little bit, but come on, Sharpie brush markers. I'm an art supply treasurer, right? I have the Pitt pen, big brush Pitt pens, and let me tell you, I treasure those bad boys. I treasure those bad boys quite a bit. Hi JZ, by the way, if I didn't say hello. So going through using Sharpies instead of sprays, like I've showed you before, using the black gesso technique, ghosting technique, I call it, through a stencil. When you use sprays, it can get messy. When you go through with the Sharpie brush marker, then you know exactly where you're putting down that ink. And because Sharpies, whatever they're made out of, they come up through gesso. If you want a good video about that, check out my wonderful friend Les Herger at Comfortable Shoes Studio. All right, so I just have a little bit down there. So you can do this in two ways. You can use another stencil, right? And I think I might be able to. Where's my circle? Excuse me. One moment, please. Like I was saying earlier, my room is always a disaster, but now it's like really stuff everywhere. Really stuff everywhere. All right, let's see. What stencilage shall we use? I want to see if I can find, just for easy viewing, it would be nice to find my circle stencil. This is a good one from Julie Faye Van Balzer in the Crafter's Workshop. I do have like a circle one. What am I doing? I can just... Hello, Paula. Forget looking for a stencil. Let's just quickly make one. I've been fanning myself. I got a piece of cardstock here. I'm going to fold it in half. Now, of course, this is pretty much... It is. That's right. It is, Laura. It's not a disaster. It's just in process. Yeah, it's Barb Owen's birthday. Happy birthday, Barb. So I'm just going to freehand, and excuse my ginormous scissors that I don't normally use for paper. I'm going to freehand some circles here. Well, that looked more like an oval. It's alright. Maybe we'll make a heart. Maybe I shall make an old heart instead. Wonky circle. I think I can just... Oh, don't cut the stencil, Paula. Don't cut the stencil. Paula is not... I love you, Barb. I love you, Barb. But Paula's not singing. That's up to our Jean. Jean, I love you, Barb. That's not going to happen. All right. Oh, look. I got a circle and I got a heart. That's what we're going to use. We might use this other stencil before. Hey, Linda. Okay. So now I got my makeup wedge going on, and I very rarely clean makeup wedges. To me, well, I know someone smart in the chat's going to say I very rarely clean anything, which is the truth. So instead of you know, worrying about cleaning makeup wedges, makeup sponges or whatnot, I just cut off the crusty part and then go on and work on it. That would be some serious bad news, AJ, if I cut that stencil. You might see me really cry on camera then. Alright. So now the fun part is that we can use any craft paint or gesso. Maybe I'll use both. Let's start maybe with a little bit of gesso. No, let's use craft paint because that's what's close. And the fun thing about this is that you can use any color of craft paint. So say I want to use, let's look at some apple barrel. I don't know what color this is. Canary yellow. Maybe we'll use some orange twist. Let's try some colorful stuff. We're just practicing, right? I love crusty bits on the jelly plate. Hashtag crusty bits. But not so much on my makeup wedge. And I really thought about doing some jelly plating tonight because because that is something that's close to me and I can get out. Sorry, I'm just looking for something real quick. Excuse me for a moment. I'm trying to find some hashtag crusty bits. So, what, Jamie? I don't know what you guys are talking about in here. Jamie is too funny. So when I jelly print, I said I found myself a good sweet spot. So we'll be going over this Wednesday night. Wednesday night on my Ustream. We'll go over my crusty bit technique to get these type of things up in one pull. on a jelly plate. But tonight we shall focus on this. So the first thing I got out was some orange twist. Let's do maybe some circles up here. Now, when you do this black gesso technique and you're using dilutions, as everybody knows, dilutions comes right up right away through your paint, right? It just blows, you know, and in fact, when you're doing this technique, it's almost a detriment because the dilutions or the Tim Holtz Distress sprays or whatever type, you know, some of those sprays that you're using, it ends up getting on your sponge, and then what happens is you're just transferring, you know, sometimes you get a hot mess because you're transferring all that ink around. So I'm just going to dab it lightly. If you see, I use my nonstick mat most of the time for a palette. Well, all the time, unless I'm arting on the couch. So with Sharpie brush markers, you may think, it's not working. It's not working. Paula lied to us. It just takes a little bit... you got to be a little bit more patient with the Sharpies than you do with the dilutions. Alright, I did use some purple down here, so we'll do 3. Now you can use whatever stencil you want. I'm just trying to be simple. Maybe we'll do another page with a, you know, different stencils or whatnot. And of course, I drew with the Sharpie, so you can, you know, if you don't want to draw, like Patty's Poppies, Patty Tully Parrish's Poppy Pods stencil is an awesome one to do this technique with. So you can see it coming up through there already. No sprays. So Marie, the first time I've taught this technique, the black gesso technique, let me find it again in this journal. I've already closed it. I'm using sprays. So instead of dilutions or Tim Holtz sprays, I am using a Sharpie brush marker. So there's 2 different ways you can do this technique, right? You can use sprays on top of black gesso, or you can use a Sharpie brush marker. I already lost the page again. Hold the fort. This one. So this is sprays. And see how it's a little bit more messy? But can you also see, when I did this page, there's sprays all over this girl's face. But you just don't see them because it's on top of black. The sprays will only pop, you know, like, for example, over, I'm pointing at something you guys can't see on camera. So there's sprays on this side of her neck and this side of the stencil. But you can't see it because, I mean, maybe if you went real close and I tilted the light a certain way, you'll be able to see it. But you'll get some cool effects. But this can get messy, right? Because dilutions, I mean, they just start going everywhere. So instead of that, we're using Sharpie brush markers to have more of a cleaner look. You know what I mean, Vern? All right. So I also believe in hanging things off the edge, right? You want to make your pattern look more cohesive, like it's more natural. Okay. So I've got, you know, my theory on working is I always have what I call leftover journals at my desk. I happen to have one here in a rubber band book. And what I do, I don't know why, let me regress here for a second, guys. So usually I work myself. What you see is the only clean part of my desk. Now I have everything cleared off of my desk, but I'm still working like I only have this much space. You know what I mean, Vern? All right. Is that Slee, Sharon? Where? I don't see her in the chat. Oh no, I said C. Oh, sorry. I thought I saw somebody said C. So what I do is I have these what I call leftover journals that start this way, and you know, I just put, so for example, here I've got some hot mess going on. I don't like to waste paint. Haha. And usually what I do is not think about it. So here I was using this stencil with this paint and this brush, and I still have more, right, left over. Now there's no Sharpie under here, but I don't think about those type of pages in my leftover journal. I just do it. I just do it, and then sometimes you get real hot messes, and sometimes you get some awesome stuff. I can show you later some finished pages from that, from you know, a leftover journal like that. You know, the pages start out looking like this. Oops, wrong way. Hot mess. But then when you get into, hold on, let me find a book that's got finished pages in it. Of course I can't find one that has a finished hot mess. I'll show you a different one later. Let's go back to this. Excuse me while I fan myself. It's like 150 degrees in here. When you do this technique, does the paint used on top of the marker matter? Nope, not that I've found. Excuse me, it is so humid. It's brutal. Brutal. Okay, so we've got a little bit of that. Now let's go to a little bit of yellow maybe, or pink. Did I not get out a pink? I shall have to go back to my paint drawer and get a pink. A pink, I think. That rhymes. Didn't mean to. You can't see the whole desk? No. No, that's too over. But it's just funny how you get used to a certain way. It's like a, you know, when they train mice and stuff, and is it mice? That even though that they're released, they still stay same in the, they stay in the same, you know what I mean, Vern, within the same confines. That's what I still feel like. Oh boy, it's bad news. I need to find one, Jim. I need, this is really, when we went to Maryland to teach at, you know, at our wonderful retreat just last week, that was the first time it was humid here. So it's been cool so far this summer, and now, bam, humid like heck. Sweating up a storm over here. Oh yeah, yeah, that's the thing, Jen. That's what I try not to complain too much, because there's always somebody in a different situation, or worse heat than what's here. But is that with humidity though, Jen? Oh yeah, 70% humidity? Sweet goodness. No, sorry, that was Leslie that said that. Alright, so again, a little bit more paint. I don't want to cross-contaminate my colors, I suppose. So I'm using a different makeup wedge. And now I'll do a few hearts. I'm going to overlap the hearts. I'm going to have them touching the, well, no, I'm going to have something else touching, I think. I'm just going to start putting hearts wherever I feel like putting hearts. And then I'll use a small, kind of what I call a finishing stencil to add a bit of texture around there. So I'm just using craft paint again. This happens to be Bubblegum Pink, Americana's Bubblegum Pink. Oh, I can't handle it. I don't know how you do it, Jen. Don't know how you do it. So just like most other things, some colors are more saturated than others. Like you can see this green. Oh, no, maybe you can't because I'm off screen. This green is really coming through really fast, whereas some of the other colors, but at the same time, right? And this is a good demo because you have to be cognizant of what color of Sharpie brush you used, or sprays, depending on, you know, which way you're going with here. You have to be cognizant if the colors you used are even going to come up through, right? If I use a yellow Sharpie brush marker and I use a darker color of paint, it's probably not going to show through. So if you use like lighter colors like yellow or orange, in this case, I probably should have used some white gesso. So I will go over some of this with white gesso here in a second. I'll add some white gesso. I put too much paint on that one for sure. For sure. Alright, now look at how much paint I put down there. That's bad news. That's bad news. So I'm going to put this off to the side for a second. I'm going to find one of my handy dandy paint scrapers. I hope. Well, gotta use what's around me these days, and it happens to be a catalyst wedge one. Yeah. I think it's 100% humidity. I could look at my app, but it's hot. That's all I gotta say. Super hot. Humid. Alright, so same thing. This is what I do in my leftover journals. I don't think, I just do. Alright, use a catalyst wedge. That's a lot of paint, so maybe I'll put it and get some funky texture. Is Houston not humid? Well, I don't have air conditioning in this basement apartment. That's the bad news. And our windows, the way our windows are situated, I'm just cleaning up my little bit here. The way our windows are situated, you know, half above, not even. They're a third. So my apartment down here is a third below, 2/3 below ground, 1/3 above ground. And I'm pointing like you can see, of course. Of course you can't see. So you can't even put like a window unit air conditioning in there even. I gotta fan myself. Niggas are just making me hot. Sweating up a storm over here. I used green Sharpie and yellow Dilutions paint. Oh, Dilutions paint might be slightly different. Try craft. I've not, that's a good point, Angie. But you gotta wait too. Did you just do it? It does take a while. Sorry. So I'm doing dual duty right now. I'm fanning myself and I'm fanning my paint. I'm drying my paint at the same time. Yeah, exactly, Anna. Try something cold to drink instead of coffee. All right. So let's break out some gesso. Let's do some freehand stuff. See what happens. Again, use your art journal. You know, there's so many ways, and that's why I have so many different art journals. Oh, that's bad news. Do you see this? So I have about 1/2 inch, you probably can't tell, 1/2 inch of separation on this gesso here. Let's find a palette knife, see if we can fix it. I'll just use a skewer thing here and mixy mix. Little separation, because I've been using De La Rowney's gesso, the one that you get at Walmart. It's just as smooth as it was weird. Jean says it was weird when I colored on the black gesso with the blue brush Sharpie. It showed as burgundy, but the minute I put the white gesso on, it came through blue. It was freaky. Yeah. Hot, hot, hot. So what I'm saying, because the De La Rowney gesso you can get at Walmart is cheaper, I haven't been using my golden. Not that it's bad, it's just a little separated. So I just got a mixy mix. I truly appreciate everybody being here. What a wonderful group we have tonight. I was saying before I recorded that it is so wonderful to see new faces and faces from people that watched me 5 years ago and everybody in between. What a true blessing and honor it is to have everybody here. I can't thank you enough for all the support and all the love that everybody's been sharing, that has shared with me in the past, gosh, couple weeks, I suppose. My arm's getting a workout. I should be using my whole arm, not my wrist, right? That's why I took Carrie to my mom's house when she was here. My mom has AC. I'm like, we're going to my mom's house and hanging out. Alright, that should be okay now. And if it's not okay, I'm going to shake, shake, shake a little bit. And when I'm using a makeup wedge to spounce or to dab or whatever, I always use the lid as a palette, but this time I'm not going to use this. I'm going to use a brush. We're going to do some freestyling. If I can find a brush. Sweet goodness. Where, oh where? I need a round one. Well, I'm going to have to use a crusty round one out of here. Excuse the crust. What is Jonna saying? Ah, I was just teasing. I was just giving you a dig, Jonna. I like to have a tease. I guess that's better than wanting to be a tease. Okay, so I'm going to use a round brush here, and let's see what happens. I'm going to outline some stuff here. Let's do a little freehand, play around in our journal. And I'm purposely, trying to, you get a little dry brush effect because that's what I like the look of. Just reading the chat here for a second. Weird using golden gesso after all this time. So golden's gesso is awesome. It's just a little pricey for me now. So $9.99 at Walmart is quite good for my art journal. And if you're new to gesso and all this stuff, my only suggestion is don't buy Liquitex Basics gesso. It is unless you really like gritty. Unless you really like gritty. Yeah, exactly, Darcy. Darcy Glam says, it's okay, Jonna. Barb and I are going to send Paula 3 containers. Stuff, more stuff, and everything else. That's how Barb organizes. And Barb is Barb Owens. If you want to check out one of my good friends who has an awesome website called howtobecreative.com. She also streams over here on Ustream on Fridays. Oh, I got the right things. All right, so we can see here. Now, maybe you can't. Let me bring it a little bit closer. Just reading the chat real quick. So, see how quickly, this is exactly what I mean. So I used an orange Sharpie brush marker, and then I put pink paint on top. Well, it's going to come through, but it's not going to look like, orange. But now we put a little bit of white gesso, and it's coming right up. Bye, Suze. Yep, you can use chalk paints. We actually, Jim, we tested at Patty and I's retreat in Maryland there. We tested black chalkboard paint thanks to the to the wonderful Zandra for giving me that. All right. Boy, that color is really coming through. And then see the purple through the stencil, not so much. Maybe I didn't have enough, probably didn't use enough pressure. That's what I've been using this particular art journal for recently is, because I like to have lots on the go. See, I'll do a technique. Let's flip back a few. Right? I'll do something and on one side of the page, and then I write notes on the other. What worked, what didn't work. Right? So over here, maybe I was testing some paints. This was out of Mary Beth Shaw, one of Mary Beth Shaw's books. So, testing paint, taking notes. It actually says Flavor. It's her book, Flavor for Mixed Media by Mary Beth Shaw. So take notes. See what you like, what you don't like. heat gun. So while I'm drying this one, so what did I learn from this page? Well, this blue marker is pretty good. So we can go over and we can try it again. But first I'm going to add a little bit of finishing stencil here. Oh my goodness. I am sweating up a storm. I apologize. I'm trying not to complain. But it is so humid in here, it's like I'm chewing the air. Chewing the air. So I'm just looking for something. Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. This is a stencil from Stencil Girl by Andrew Borloz. I can never pronounce his last name either. Borloz. B-O-R-L-O-Z. StencilGirlProducts.com. But you know me, I love me some... gosh, I love them so much I can't remember the name. I'm glowing. Glowing is not the right word. That is for sure. I need to... Soon I'll be discovering a new stencil technique using sweat. No, I'm just teasing. Just joking. Just joking. But I think I like... I'm going to use this one. And I think I shall use gesso again. Chevrons. Oh, thank you, ladies. Chevrons. I'm drinking coffee. Another reason why I've got, you know, sweet goodness. At least I didn't give it a crazy name, right, Patty? Where's my arrow stencil when I need it? So, same thing. Oh, I just dipped a pink sponge into gesso, so I guess we're going to be using a light pink. So let's see what we can get. I'm going to go right over all the other colors and all that goodness. So this is definitely a light pink now that this used makeup wedge had a little bit of that pink on it. Add a little bit of gesso and all right, maybe over here. One thing about when you stencil this way, the first time you put the stencil down, you don't usually, you have a pretty good image, right? Then it seems like the next time you put the stencil down and do the same thing with your sponge when you're just, regular stencils, you get a more blurry image. And then the third time it's even more blurry. So it's always important. What I do, like I wear what we call art pants. So it's usually a pair of old yoga pants or whatever I've got on, and I just wipe the stencil on my pants. So long story short, all you need to do is just try to make sure you wipe off some of that paint underneath that stencil before you start stenciling again. It'll help with that bleed through issue. If you're like some of our wonderful friends in chat, maybe you want to clean the whole thing in between or whatnot. Let me just make sure I'm still on camera here. All right. But as long as you get most of the paint, or in this case gesso, off of your makeup wedge, and that your makeup wedge started out dry, that's also very important, and you go straight up and down, you usually can get a pretty good image. Let's take a peek. Ooh, I like that where it's only kind of half going there. And I think I need to join this one over here. So my theory is always, when you're worried about creating a page, or lots of people are new to art journaling and backgrounds and stuff, I always say try to get things to touch, right? So if I don't want to think too hard about layout and design and whatever. I start with 3 things hanging off a page, and then I start building off of those things and making sure that it touches. And that's really, see, I didn't wipe it off on my pants, so I have to be extra careful to not get much seepage. Right? Thinking odd numbers, so I'm going to put a little bit up here. I hope I said hello to everybody. I appreciate, again, everybody being here tonight, spending their Saturday night with us. Alright, so that's not an odd number, so I'm just going to pop it down here. So you can use this technique. Like, the more I look at this page now, I'm thinking, sweet goodness, this is a hot mess, right? You're probably thinking, why the heck did she even draw with that Sharpie? You know, pattern-wise, it doesn't even make any sense, right? Because you're not seeing what I'm supposed to see. So, or what, you're not seeing all of the image. But when you use a stencil, right, I chose to do the flowers first, so when we do it again next time, the second time now, we're not going to draw with the Sharpie, we'll only go through stencils. Right? So see, everything's coming through, right? I drew the flowers just to show you that it's possible to draw rather than go through a stencil. But now let's go start a new one. We'll start from the beginning. And this time we will use a stencil in the background, and all stencil, I should say, in the background, and you'll see the difference. And I keep telling you, I keep saying it. That's right, Jean. Always listen to Jean. Always trust Paula. Hi, Vicky. Good to see you, my friend. Vicky Cook, Vicky. Is Jen leaving? Night, Jen. Hopefully, like I said, please, use caps or a heart to get my attention, because the chat goes by fast. All right. But play around. You don't have to start with a black base. Try all different colors. I just use a black base on the bottom so that you only see parts of... Night, Leslie. I like that surprise element to it, right? Well, surprise may not be the right word. You know what I mean, Vern. And if you're also new here, I talk to Vern a lot. Vern from like Ernest Saves Christmas or Ernest Goes to Jail. It's a running joke. Sometimes Vern comes in and chats. Night's in. Leslie's here? Leslie? Is Pampered Pages Leslie? Sorry, just talking. Oh, hi, Leslie. I didn't know that was you, my friend. Thank you so much for coming. Wonderful to see you. Hope you have a wonderful night. I miss you, my friend. Well, I miss everybody. But I'm very glad that you were able to pop in. How not to gesso a page? Oh my goodness. I love her name, Pampered Pages. What a great Ustream name. So as you can see, I'm putting on this craft paint every way, every brush stroke possible. I don't want, I'm a fly by the seat of my pants kind of gal, so I don't worry about even brush strokes and all that type of stuff. But if you do, that's wonderful. All right. And I'm not even going to bother filling the whole thing. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Alright, so we're going to make sure this is dry. Heat gun. Yeah, we're going to have to meet up in Buffalo halfway through. Or Toronto. Yeah, exactly, Lisa. Lesline is Pampered Pages. Patty. Pampered Pages is Leslie. And I keep saying Lesline. Oh, sweet goodness. Drink some coffee, fella. What a... Oh. Best lobsters off the coast of Newfoundland. Just saying. I'm kidding. Don't email me. Okay. Let's try her again. Now, like I said, these Sharpie brush markers come in a whole bunch of colors. It is just that, you know, my room is in a little disarray right now. I do have a green. Let's try the green this time. Let us stay away from the pink and the orange. Okay. Now I want to find this. I want to choose a stencil that's kind of busy. So sometimes the hardest part of my projects on Stencil Saturdays is choosing amongst all these awesome stencils the one I want to use. Excuse me for a second. Oh, all my 12 by 12 stencils are not reachable at all. One moment, please, as our wonderful Joyceage would say. And Jean. Sweating up a storm. Whew, gotta stop saying the same things. I know, I gotta stop saying the same things. Alright, let's use a Patty Tully Parish stencil from mystencils.com. I think this one is called Greek Keys. Please, did I get it right this time? Woohoo! I did. And this will be a good one because it'll show the difference between, this is a stencil I used when I used black gesso technique with dilutions. So this will be a good one to compare to. Okay, so let's bust out the blue. Now, I need a paper towel because there is a lot of... Yeah, Niagara Falls. See, you're close to Niagara Falls, Leslie. Got one right, Patty. Woohoo! That deserves a pat on the back. Just kidding. All right, I'm using a paper towel because I am like glowing over here, and guaranteed because my arm is sweaty, I'm gonna pick up every bit of dilutions from this stencil right on my arm and hand. So I don't want to make a mess. So I'm just taking again, now this takes some time, especially if you're using a fine stencil like this. It doesn't mean that I have to trace the entire stencil or even the entire design, right? I can leave out, maybe I want to leave out some of these middle spots. So if I sprayed this, and like I showed you before with dilutions, just it can get a little bit messy. So again, Sharpie brush. Now let's go down to this next key. Let's try to use, so that was blue. Let's use some, see what green looks like underneath it. Right? These stencils, I mean, just because a stencil has all these lines in it doesn't mean you have to use every single line, right? You can choose to, maybe on this one I just want to go on the outside, depending on what type of stencil design you have. Right? You are the artist. This is the tool. So that means you have creative license to alter it, or use what you want, or not use what parts. It's all up to you. And so, okay, right there I just filled in both of those two. Afraid of peacocks. I look up and see the strangest things in chat sometimes. My friends, if you're watching this on YouTube and you haven't seen it live, popping peacocks. What? What are you guys talking about? Okay, back to blue. It's always a good time at chat and live, that's for sure. Alright, so I filled all of those in. Maybe this time I just want to outline it. Right? Maybe I'll just outline, fill parts of it in. I know you probably can't see it on camera. It's all up to you. This time I'm just going to color it all the way through. And if you want to get real fancy, I mean, you can use these markers and color all different colors, you know, within one cube, for example. So you see, let's open this up a little bit. Clowns. So I got lots going on there. So now that like I said, now that I practiced this technique on the other page, now I can put more thought into what I really want to do. Actually, just for on this page, I think what I will do is do the top half with Sharpie brush, and I'll do the bottom half with dilution sprays, which I am able to reach here, and I'll show you the difference. How about that? Sounds like a plan. Again, be as neat or as messy as you want to. It's your art journal. And this time I will use white gesso. Right? You can spend your whole time, maybe I'll switch up my stencil. Let's go in to find something different. Oh, here's a good one that kind of, it's similar but not the same. So this one is from Stencil Girl. Similar funny looking pattern here. Geometrical pattern, I should say. It's not funny looking. So some stencils are made thinner than others. Stencil Girl is just slightly thinner than iStencils. So you just sometimes have to be a little bit more careful when you have a real fine design here. Whew, night, Sandra and Andrea. Let's see, I want to say this one's a Mary Beth Shaw actual design. And usually if it doesn't have a number on it, it is a Mary Beth Shaw. I believe it's a Mary Beth Shaw design on Stencil Girl. So I got a little messy there. I got a little rushed on that bad boy, but that's okay. Let's go back to this, do a little bit more Greek keys. Let's add some, maybe back to green. Again, hanging it off the edge over here. Ooh, what am I doing down here? I was going to use dilutions. Sweet goodness, I got too excited about my Sharpie brush markers. And again, Sharpie brush right over paint. So it's not like you just have to buy Sharpie brush markers just for this technique, right? You can, and we can flip this over and find a different page. Right, here's just some random thing I haven't finished. Okay, I can just, well, we can do those same flowers that I was just doing on the other ones. Right, Sharpie brush markers will work over any type of paint, which is unusual because everybody knows regular Sharpies. Don't try this at home with regular Sharpies, my friends. They might, it might end up getting, it will end up drying out on top of gesso. Alright, next I go back to another, okay, what I wanted to do was spray. So I'll get, where's Patty's stencil gun? Of course on the other side. Let me go under the desk for my dilutions, and I'm just going to use the first Poppy Red, Postbox Red. I was just going to say I'm going to use the first color that comes out because this girl's not digging today. I again apologize to any newbies of any chaos you might that my art room is in. Again, check out my videos on YouTube for art room organization. I have a hashtag. I called it hashtag art supply treasures. So if you want to share your, there's a spider under the desk, Linda. Easy, my friends. Oh no. You don't lick Sharpies, Brenda? Oh, for the record, that's thank you. Thank you. That's what's good to know. Okay, so this is a Dilutions paint made by paint. Sweet goodness. I'm so in love with Dilutions paint. That's all I'm saying. I'm just reading Jim's comment. He says, should be cooler under the desk. Hot air rises, they say, and I'm just waiting for somebody to say about how much hot air is in my room right now. Come on, guys, bring it. Alright, just kidding. So this is Dilutions ink spray in Postbox Red. It's made by Ranger, and it's very potent stuff, my friends. Potent stuff. So I'm going to try to spray it, 8 inches off. I want to make sure that my nozzle is clean. Oh, let's hope. Maybe that's why it was segregated from my other colors. Oh, spots. Okay, here we go. So see, if you go too close, now we're going to get a lot. If you go too far away, you don't get enough. You know how it goes with these Dilutions. They're awesome. Don't get me wrong. There's all cool techniques. They're just, they're a little tricky sometimes, is what I'm trying to say. Well, there's lots of Dilutions on top of this, so I'm just going to turn her over, the stencil, and just kind of stamp with it a little bit right on here. Who's noisy? Hi, Elizabeth. Good to see you. All right, now we got a hot mess, but we'll be able to see. No, it's not a hot mess, but we're going to see some differences now. What happens when I start putting gesso on this? Alright, sorry, clear my throat. We'll see the differences between the Dilutions and the Sharpie brush. Heat gun. Oh, I think this is going to turn out good, my friends. I'm excited about this. I can tell when I get excited. So with my lighting, the way it's shining right now, you guys can see on this black paint, you can easily see where the dilutions, here and here dilutions, or where the Sharpies are. But once this sinks in and you got all the other stuff on, right, it truly fades in the background, and then you can't, you only see the good stuff coming through. Okay, we shall start with Gesso this time. Again, this has a little bit of pink in it, so I'm going to cut it off. Oh yeah, there's a lot of paint drying watching going on around here. Watching paint dry. You know what I mean, Vern. And today, there's lots of fanning going on around here. Hot. Alright, let's bust out the gesso again. And I'm going to use the lid as a palette here. Looking for a stencil. Excuse me, please. Oh, here's a good one to use. I think this is called Fly Swatter by Julie Faye Van Balzer, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure. Could be wrong. And I actually think that it could be discontinued. All right. So I'm gonna take a little bit of gesso. We're gonna bounce it off. Are there any other markers that would work on top of like Sharpies? They're like alcohol markers, right? Like Sharpie. I haven't tried it with anything else because I'm too afraid. Like Pitt pens, for example. Because I don't want to steer you wrong and have you wreck your pen, wreck one of your markers on top of, because writing on top of craft paint or gesso dries out markers. But big brush pens, I can test it here in a minute. All right, so let's see this bounce. Now, over here, this red from the Postbox Dilutions, see how it's already transferring to my makeup wedge? Right? Pitt pens are India ink, so they might not work. Well, exactly, right? That's why I like to give you a cheap alternative. But again, I mean, these are so awesome to use in other parts of your art journaling. This is just an I didn't buy them to do this technique. This is just an added bonus. So when you're going over dilutions, you want to go straight up and down, and you got to be, have a paper towel or something to clean your makeup wedge off so that it doesn't get too red. You know what I mean? I'm trying to keep the paint pure. But with Sharpies, when you're using the Sharpie brushes, you don't have that same problem. Yeah, I ruined lots of markers. I hear that, my friend. You hear that? So again, dilutions comes up right away. Although look at this Sharpie blue markers coming up real quick. So again, I'm getting too much pink on my makeup spot wedge here. Could you use spray gesso to avoid color transference? Spray gesso in between rain. Are you talking about spray gesso after you use? Oh yes, of course. Through oh for sure, Rain. Yeah, through the stencil, like in this step. Absolutely. Make sure we do it outdoors. I've seen that at the. I keep looking at it at. Was it Walmart that I see it at? But I'm just too chicken to try it. All right. Let's do a little bit down here. It looks like windows, like windows in a night sky. That got me thinking. I'm going to place this stencil because it's a repeated pattern. I can place it a little bit lower and do the same thing here. I can turn these into buildings. That's what I I just got an idea. Yeah, Jean. Jean just says, cool, looks like a window in a dark room. In fact, yeah, spray gesso would be awesome, and you get, you know, don't have to deal with all this mess and worrying about, like, look at how much pink is on my sponge now. This one's called Mini Tags, not Fly Swatter. I must be confusing it with something. Oh boy, bad news. Shifty, shifty. So again, straight up and down with the makeup wedge. Try to keep your fingers away from the tip of the makeup sponge, or wedge, whatever you call it. I also really love spouncers, but they can be pricey. Oh, got a little mark over there. That's all right. I told you, Sharpie brush markers they're a good investment. They're not expensive. And lots of places you can find them singly. So if you're like me and use the black a lot, I use the black a lot for titles. Just because it writes over everything in my art journal. I buy those singly as well. All right. So, and then when I do this side, you're going to see an even bigger difference between the two. So hold the fort. Let's see what we can do on this other side here. Think, think, think. Now, in my head, I think the single ones were $1.99 before any like discount or whatever, maybe less. I'm pretty sure. It does look like mini tags. So this time, why I'm like doing the thing is because I know I have a Dina Wakley stencil, the one with you know, with her cathedral windows. Let's see. Dead air, dead air. Bad news. Let's use an artist seller stencil maybe over here. I think I shall. May not be buildings anymore, but imagine the possibilities, right? Of all the different things you can do with this technique. When it was originally published, I originally did this technique. It was published in Art Journaling magazine back in 2000 and, oh boy, I don't know. We can look in this journal, right? Some of you may recognize this. So, you know, all the spray is all over the black background, right? But as I layered stencils, circle, just happened to be circle stencils. This is an old Crafters Workshop stencil. You know, you can layer the circles and it'll just keep coming up, coming up, coming up. But like I said, dilutions can be messy. So if we use a Sharpie brush marker, you can be more accurate with the pattern that you want to see. Night, AJ. All right, let's hold this down. Now the tricky business about dilutions is that no matter how many layers of paint, it's going to come up, and it's going to continue to come up and continue to come up. Eileen did that with the circles and still have it. From way back, Eileen? Aw, that's sweet. Oh, these brush markers, you can get them anywhere. Yeah, Staples, Michaels. I bought some at AC Moore when we were in Maryland. Well, see, here we go with the dilutions red here. I might have to bust out a different makeup wedge. So the thing with dilutions with this technique is it just gets a little blurry, right? See how precise you can get it when you're using a Sharpie brush marker. When you're down here with dilutions, depending on if you sprayed it correctly or not, you got bad news going on, right? Like you can get a little wonky is what I'm trying to say. The 12-pack on Amazon Canada, $34.99. Yes, but you can get them at Michael's. You know, buy one get one half off, or Staples or something. You don't get them on Amazon. They're way cheaper at Michael's or whatever. All right. So now that I see this, I see that I'm just gonna go with it. I'm gonna work this. Just wipe it off my thing here. I feel like it needs. I feel like I'm gonna put some pink paint, so I'm just gonna go with it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just two different ways to do the same technique, right? Just depending on what you're feeling, what your style is, maybe depending on the stencil. And that's what I love. There's so many, you know, mixed media. There's so many different ways to do things. Sometimes, like I said, the hardest part is choosing the stencil and then choosing which technique you want to do. But I'm never afraid to cover up something I've already done. So, and I'm also not afraid in my art journal to try something new, right? If this turns out to be a hot mess, guess what? I can turn the page. And then I can use it to sign up for the Hot Mess Art Gang. Right? Now I gotta be careful as I do this because that dilutions is just gonna spread right on with that paint, but we'll be okay. So while this dries, paint the edges here. Use, you know, if this type of thing bothers you when the paint goes on to the next page, use it, you know, all I gotta do is put a sheet of something else. You can paint to your heart's content. But me, I love to see, you know, journals that things stick out of and hang out of and all that type of fun stuff. So, all right, I'm gonna put this on hold for a minute. This is not Cathedral. This stencil, this is Artist Seller. This is Artist Seller, but it's not the Cathedral series. This is not Sacred Geometry. Ooh, Lisa's gonna stencil names. Kaleidoscope. I think this is from the Kaleidoscope series. Pretty sure. I'm a little dusty off of it. So now I can wait and let this do a little bit of something and add some more layers to it afterwards maybe. But you know, when you use a Sharpie brush and see the green is taking a lot longer to come up through, look at how precise that is, right? Look at how precise this is compared to sometimes when you spray dilutions. And again, depending on the color, so I used a red dilutions, right? Obviously not as saturated as a purple or some of the other colors. So test out all of your, oh, I need to fan myself while I'm talking here. Test out all of the, different colors. See which one you like the best. Yeah, we did see them, Lisa, at Hobby Lobby for $29.99. But at AC Moore, Ange helped me use a coupon, and they were $24.99, and I got them for 50% off. Patty, arrows. Alright. So I want to do the same technique on a page that's already half done. It has collage on it and such thing. So let's look at what's happening on the other one we were just doing. Right? Still coming through different random things. Still pretty cool, but some came through more than others. Right? This was a fail. But then I'm going to take notes and say, well, remember, Paula, when you use an orange marker and then you use yellow paint, it's not happening. Alright, so let's put this off to the side for a second, let it dry. And I'm going to do, oop, I got some extra paint, so I got to get out a fabric brush marker by Sharpie. Are those the ones, Marion, Jean, are those the ones that you used for signing? Oh yeah, we did use them for signing t-shirts in Maryland. Yeah. Maryland? Merlin. Merlin? I'm practicing. Alright, there's some packing tape on there. I gotta say it right. I gotta say it like the locals. Making a hot mess. Night, Jerry. What time we got? I'm still recording. Everything's all, let me do stuff. Make sure everything's all good. Again, if you're coming, if you're going, I truly appreciate everybody being here. Oh, I'm not sure. That's a good question. Do you have them, Marion? Test it out. I would love to know myself. Alright, so this is like a brochure, some type of fashion brochure I got that I've just, some parts I've used I've used my jelly plate. Like here, I've used my jelly plate to print in this journal. Okay. Let's see. I got me a spread here. Sweet goodness. Hold the fort. I'm sorry, guys. I know I'm going to keep apologizing, but it is so hot. So hot. Whew. Alright, stop complaining. Less complaining, more art. Now, what stencil can we use on this sweet goodness? It's got a little red. Too much thinking on this one, not enough doing. And when, one of my, I don't like to struggle when I'm arting, right? If I'm sitting here seeing what am I going to do next on this page, or trying to hem and haw, I just turn the page and do something else, right? I don't like to get all caught up in my head. Thanks, Rain. I don't like to get all caught up in my head and worry about that, right? I just rather turn the page and figure out something out. But I was just thinking about putting black, using the Sharpie brush marker in that ghosting technique onto this page. But I'm not sure if I want to add anything light on here. But here's a good one. So there's a lot of, you know, and I'm gonna go back to the blue here. Although I should use purple. Purple doesn't seem to come up as much. All right, let's just go here. Let's see. I'm just doing some swirly-doo, some such things. It's going to show up in some parts and some parts not. I'm okay with that. Again, one of my philosophies is that you cannot be... I am not scared to cover something else up. Sharpie stains. That's a good idea, Marilyn. I need one of those things like I used to work, that we used to have at when I worked in the factory. Here I go saying we again. Alright, but I just want to show you the Sharpie will come up through any gesso. You don't have to go through a stencil. And again, this is a technique I learned from the wonderful Les Herger of Comfortable Shoes Studio. She's Comfortable Shoes Stud on YouTube. That's because Studio was too long. I'm just looking. I need all this stuff and I don't have a paint scraper. Sweet goodness, this is bad news. I don't have a paint scraper. No. I don't know where that box is. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to craft a lunch after I have a nervous breakdown. I'm just teasing. It's all good. It's all good. Fanning myself. It actually, they say that fanning yourself is worse, right? It just makes you hotter because you're more physically active. I don't know where my little thing is with all my paintbrushes. Isn't that sad? Or all my, where the one, sorry, not the one with the paintbrushes. The one with my... How is it possible that I do not have a... Sweet goodness. Drink some coffee, Paula. Drink them. I'm going to have to use the catalyst tool again. It's too... It's too, bendy. Bendy. Louisville? Louisville. 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 Does that sound right? Yep. The vid is called Ghosting. Ghosting Sharpie technique, I believe it was. So it's an older video. An oldie but goodie. Okay. I'm going to scrape it on. See how this goes. This could get ugly. They're my fly swatters, right, Eileen? What cardboard? You guys are now you're ribbing me. All right. So I have all this paper down. I'm just going to cover it right up. Let's see. Started scraping. Can't be afraid. Not afraid to make a hot mess or to cover something up. But I wanted to show you that you don't have to go through a stencil or, you know, anything like that to have your Sharpies come up through it. It's just a fun added way, right? Another way to use your stencils. So I am not afraid to cover it up. Boy. So see how it's coming up already? Yeah, so for just looking Gainesville. My mini fly swatter, I have that one close, Eileen. just for you, my catalyst thingy-me-do. Paintbrushy thing. Alright, so got some gesso. I'm gonna bust out my, while it's still wet, I'm gonna get a, I got a fresh baby wipe, and now I'm gonna bust out a Patty Tolly Parish stencil, which has another one stuck to it. Oh boy, is this crop circles? Dang it, Pac-Man stacks! Razor Frazzin, I should have known Pac-Man stacks. So we're just going to lay it down here, and I'm going to wipe off some of this gesso. Now, when you use a stencil like this, right, you know, I'm constantly flipping my baby wipe, of course, but it may have some sharp edges, so sometimes I say you know, you kind of have to do the twist. Not this one, though. This one seems pretty okay. It doesn't have any sharp points or anything that makes me need to handle my baby wipe in a different manner. Oh, except for maybe that sharp point. It's my catalyst. Oh boy, I'm all up on my vocabulary tonight, huh? All up on the okay. Let me just wipe back some of this paint, maybe. Again, when you start seeing this kind of milky looking stuff, that's when it's time to get another baby wipe. Gainesville. Like, I think we had a plant in Gainesville. It sounds very familiar. Lexington for sure. Not that I had spent any time in the South at work. It was all in the Midwest. See, this is why I'm not afraid to cover anything up, right? If you go too far, wipe it back. As long as you're fast enough, and you know, today is perfect because it's so stinking hot and humid that my paint is, well, in this case happens to be gesso, not paint, is easily staying wet long enough for me to be able to wipe it back. So yes, even though, you know, you may not see it, I'm flipping my baby wipe. I'm flipping my baby wipe frequently so that I'm wiping the paint away, not just spreading it around. It's just sometimes I know I do it so fast, you may not be able to see it. Thanks, Debbie. Everybody's chatting amongst themselves. I appreciate that. Hope you're having a good time and learning something. If you try out this technique and you share it on, you know, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, make sure you tag me on it, JournalArtista. I would love to see what you do. Alright, I think I'm going to wipe this back here. I mean, there is a limit, right? You know, your paint's going to dry, and then there's a time limit where you can't just wipe it back anymore. Or I like to say you have to put your back into it. You're rubbing like crazy, wiping like crazy. I hear you, Eileen. I hope I can find them downtown. Toronto, Soho wipes. We'll see. We'll see. I'll have to play around with those. And again, when you find that it gets muddy, that's when you need to break out a new baby wipe. So maybe over here. I should probably, see, I just spread a whole bunch of hot mess around there. So, get out a new baby wipe. Try to wipe some back. So it's just fun to use, like when this dries, as a layer. So you just see my swirls in the in the gesso there. It's just fun to, it adds an extra little pop of something, right? An extra little visual texture without adding, you know, like a texture paste. I keep trying to wipe this back because this, but you guys know what I say, you gotta work through the uglies. All right. Hey, gun. No, Genie. So, what's interesting, let me just, hold on. Hold the fort. I'm just going to get something over here. Oh, crap the lynch. Sweet goodness. Whew. So, this technique, this is the Cathedral series, which now comes in 12 by 12 from Artist Seller. And when I did the black gesso technique with Dilutions, the first, you know, not the first time, but with the Cathedral series, you can see that there's one stencil behind it, right? So I did the black background, I sprayed through one, like a finer stencil, green, and then I used the next stencil in her series. There's 4 in this Cathedral series, and, you know, spounced on top. So there's so many different ways you can use this technique. Not, you know, if you look at this and say, sweet goodness, that's a hot mess, or these stencils don't go with each other, or whatnot, right? There's, you know, think outside the box. Try it with different stencils that you have in different combinations, especially when you have 6 by 6 stencils that go together, right? So don't be scared to try. I thought I had another one around here somewhere. Maybe not. Maybe not. Random books everywhere. So again, don't be discouraged if you look at this page and say, that's a hot mess. It's just me trying to teach you the techniques of how to use it. And then you can try it out and see how well it works in your art. Be it on more of a random page like this, right? This page to me is almost done. I can add some extra colors here, ink the edges, add a title, call it done. Or, you know, try it with circles. Layer circles in different colors. Just reading the chat here for a second. So don't give up on it. Just try to incorporate it in the style that you enjoy the most. For example, let's go back to this page now. I just wanted to show on this page that you can incorporate, you don't have to put it through a stencil. It's going to come up through your gesso and your paint regardless. So now we can go back to this maybe, and again, this is gesso, right? This is a Sharpie marker. Take, damn it. Don't try this with a regular Sharpie marker. It has to be Sharpie brush. So instead of my wrist, I'm trying to use my whole arm. Making a hot mess. Not worrying about, you know, the only thing you got to worry about is getting high on Sharpie fumes. I should laugh. That means not, you know, that could be bad news for some people. Alright, let me get a black ink pad. I think I have one of those close here somewhere. That's white. There's a point, like I say in my art drawing, that I need to ink the edges. So I think I can add back in this yellow now. Oh, you think, Paula, you think I know where any water is? As our wonderful friend Patty Tully Pear says, it's the paint, not the artist. Alright, so I have zero idea where there's a spray bottle with water in it, so I will be using dirty paint water. So nobody cringe. Nobody cringe. I apologize, it's going to be okay. So I'm watering down my paint here because, you know, I got to have some splots. I would have liked the page better if I didn't draw. It needs to be more stencils, less drawing. But, you know, I wanted to be able to demo that you could draw. You didn't have to put it through a stencil. Oh, someone's tweeting me. So I'm making some splots, and yes, splots are messy business. Messy business. I'm liking it though. It's cool. It makes, for me, if I were to look at this page in somebody else's art journal, it would make me look closer to see what is hidden within those things. Right? So the way I art journal, add a title to this bad boy, and it's done. But look at this goodness I have with these yellow splots. That means I have to get out a different journal that has maybe some more pages that are partially done. Let's check out this one, travel journal. I don't like to waste paint. And usually I have more what I call leftover journals around, but they're still packed away. So we gotta use what we have. This happens to be an altered Live Simple magazine. And I'm just kind of flip through, you know, let's see. Oh, my Wanna Better Butt ad. That needs some splots. And I'll just add some splots to this page. Maybe over here. Right? But because this drying, so then I'll put over here and I put that down somewhere else. Let's see. Oh, here's are some crusty bits. This is a jelly print, actually from two different ones. Two different pulls, I should say. This was one pull. This was another pull. I'm going to be doing this technique again Wednesday. We'll go over that more and more so that people actually get it. That sounded wrong. Because people have been asking for me to do it again. So this needs some yellow spots, I think. And then once I put the yellow spots on it, you know, from here, then I'm going to cut it down. I can cut it down into some ATCs and send them out. But, you know, I always have these type of things floating around me so that I don't ever lose paint. I'm telling you, those jeans, I said it before, those jeans, they're made by TMI, I think it was called, right? YMI. TMI. Get it? Anyway, no kidding. So they're made by YMI, these jeans. They hug you in just the right, they specially design contour seams to help you achieve a flattering, firmer look. It's true though. I found them when I was in Newfoundland. So again, just finding a different. So I still have all this stuff now. So we'll just go back. Maybe there's a page in this journal that needs a few splots. Maybe the one I was just working on. Ooh, this one might need some yellow spots. So if you want to see me in those better butt, you can check that out on Instagram. Check that out on Instagram. I have a shot. All right. I just like, if I'm doing splots, right, then I just find multiple pages in progress in different books, you know, that type of thing, to use up the paint that I have. And I'd love to work in layers. That's why I have, you know, so many art journals on the go. That's just my process. Some people like to work from start to finish on a page. Don't think because I work on multiple pages at a time that that's something that, you know, that's the only way to art journal. You have to, I believe that there is no, of course, there's no right way, wrong way, or sideways. You just got to do what you love. I love scrapbook paper, so I put scrapbook paper in my art journals. Some people don't. You got to use what you and do what you like. All right. Let's see. I still have a little bit more yellow paint. That's a hot mess. More hot mess. I'm going to scrape the rest of it on this one. But I did want to show you before we go, not go, but because there seems to be many newbies in here tonight. I want to show you what some of my finished leftover journals look like. So that, you know, you see all this crazy hot mess, but you don't see what Jay said. Night Joyceage. All right, what was I just gonna say? Oh, I wanted to look at. I wanted to show a journal. Let us see. Let us see. Here's one. Some of them have, you know, some pages that were start to finish, but all of these, this whole layer, the last part of it, you know, I added some top things, but the scraping in the background, whatnot, same as over here, right? This is all like stencils stuck in through, or, well, some of this you see is packing tape transfer through a stencil. But, you know, you can make some pretty cool things. This one's not finished, but you can make some pretty cool things. Again, this is packing tape transfer through a stencil. There's a tiger there, if you can tell. And the other ones are all in my bag because I brought them to the retreat. All right, let's wipe this bad boy down. Anybody have any questions about black, just, you know, this what we've been doing tonight? What time is it? Oh, it's only been on for an hour and 41 minutes. Hey, Cheryl. Did Janet, Carrie, Janet needs help. If everybody knows that Janet's helping me out as a mod, unless she's already asked Carrie, told Carrie she doesn't want to be a mod, that could help happen. I'm just looking at my chat list for a second. I truly appreciate everybody being here. Wow. Thank you so much for all the support. Sweating up a storm, sweating up a storm. Stop complaining about it. That's not helping. Whew, night, Penny. Let's see. This is the first time I've actually been able to be a little arty. So I'm kind of enjoying it, even though I'm all over the place doing a bunch of different things. So I gotta be careful because these splots aren't dry. Splots aren't dry. Apologize for the shadow again. My camera's not in the right. Oop, that's not the right way. This way. This needs some attention. This is not. the Dilutions red didn't, you know, because it was too fine of a mist. Because I was so worried about creating, you know, a big splot and it becoming so messy. Like, where's my other journal? Too many journals. I've already lost it. Oh, I think it was in this one, right? One of these ones. I just feel like arting now. I've already lost it. Insert joke here. Oh, here. I was so worried that when I sprayed it, I would just get this big, you know, splot, this big, massive mess that I didn't spray it enough then on this particular page. I had too fine of a mist, and now you're not really seeing it go up through here. Oh, wonderful. Wow, 126. I think that might be a record for me for all these years. Pretty close to it anyways. We had a good, anyways, I truly appreciate everybody's support, and I hope they're enjoying the show. He gun. My heart page is similar to the scrap of paper on my table. I don't have any scrap of paper. The duct tape? Never thought of it, but that's true. This is holding down, duct tape holding down my mat, yeah. I'm not gonna wait. We'll be here all night waiting for those spots to dry. Aha, ho ho. Yeah, this is definitely duct tape holding down my. This is what I made my duck dory out of, was that one. All right. I think tonight, if nobody minds, I think I'm going to call her a night. This is the Poppy Pod stencil from Patty's. Yeah, I've been streaming lots. I've already streamed for like 3.5 hours today, earlier, my cleanup. Please follow me on Facebook or Twitter at JournalArtista, and you can see, you'll see when I'm streaming those cleanups. The cleanups are just impromptu, not recorded, any of that type of stuff. Sorry, just reading that something here. And I will be back tomorrow sometime. We'll see who's streaming, who's not streaming, to work more on my art room. I'll try not to get as flustered as I was today. But I truly appreciate you coming. We'll go back to look at this other one again. Frazen. Can't find it. The one that we did a while ago with the other stencils. So try it out, please. If you try this out, I'd love to see a picture. Hashtag at me, JournalArtista, over on Instagram, and I truly appreciate it. Again, check me out over on YouTube, and hopefully by next Saturday, my desk will at least be arranged so I can art in the normal way. Settle it the usual way. Sorry, sometimes I get like, I remember commercials. So we'll be back to normal hopefully next Saturday. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and definitely on Twitter. Much love, my friend. And don't forget, hashtag love summer art. Search for it, look for it, watch some videos on YouTube. Some art videos on YouTube. Bye, guys. Yeah, see, my arm is like sticking to my mat. See how sticky I am? Oh, thanks, Elizabeth. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it.